Alright guys, what I'm talking about today is something that's you may not have really heard of before, but once I bring it up it'll probably ring a few bells, or get the idea pretty quick what I'm talking about. Whenever you watch a movie, see a play, watch a television show, or even read a comic, between the audience and the entertainers, the creators, there's something called an unwritten contract. In an unwritten contract, it means that you, as an audience member, have decided to suspend your disbelief and be able to enjoy what they're presenting to you story-wise. Okay, and it's nothing new. That's an old theater understanding, and it applies to any kind of entertainment. Just to give you and sometimes that the two parts of the contract, like I said, is that the audience member will suspend their disbelief in order to enjoy the show and the message they're giving things. But the other side of that contract means that they won't do anything to really blow up your suspension of disbelief. They won't go too far. And this applies to comic books. Just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, I saw the Transformers movie in the theater a couple years ago. I was able to suspend my disbelief and believe that there is possible for these 25-foot robots to be alive from an alien planet, come down here and be able to transform into cars and airplanes and semi-trucks. But there's no way in the world you could get me to believe that Megan Fox was in high school. Okay? That's what I'm getting at, how it's getting stretched. Last couple weeks here on my videos, I'll show you my comic book hauls. I'm able to kind of catch up. I don't really collect too many newer comics. And I've had a real problem with Marvel over the years, and I'm not ashamed of that. I don't want to make any Marvel fans mad. I don't usually do negative reviews because there's enough out there. I like finding these gems of comics that have been underappreciated, and it's comic books. It's all good, but I've sort of had enough. I've been able to catch up on Marvel the last couple of years. I bought all these comics, like I said, on discount, 25 cents a piece. They're all in my previous videos. But, there's been 2-3 things pop up that I just cannot ignore. I feel kind of betrayed. As, viewer-wise, it's not personal or anything, okay? Now, first of all, I am picking on Marvel in this video. Marvel created the shared universe. Marvel started all their books kind of being tied in. They really upped up on the crossovers, You got X-Men versus Avengers coming back. Well, that took place first time in the 60s. And Spider-Man popped up in the Fantastic Four. Daredevil #2 all the way back in the 60s. You had you found out that Matt Murdock, as a lawyer, represented the Fantastic Four. Stuff like that. And so, if I feel like I have an unwritten contract with them that if I'm going to invest my time and my money in these stories, then they should go by the rules that they've set up. Now, when I'm talking about rules, I'm just not being a little fanboy here. Fanboy is the derogatory term, and there are fanboys out there. Fanboys are impossible to please. They're just real negative. It's like they get a book just to rip it up and act like, everything is just for them, comic book wise. Now, I'm not a fanboy, but at the same time, I'm still a customer for the comic books. I'm still a fan. Once you create something, music, or story-wise or anything like that, we read these things, we invest ourselves in these characters and stuff, and they become personal. You can own the rights, you can make all the money, you can put out the books, but once you create something and you put it out there to people, and they take it in their minds and in their hearts and relate it to their life, or they remember their childhood, it's not theirs anymore. You've created a mythology that's shared by everybody. So Marvel, on one hand, might have shot themselves in the foot here a little bit, because they made the rules and we agreed to the rules, as being a reader, and we appreciate them. What I have here is a box, okay, and this is all like who's who, secret origin tales, but most importantly, what we have here, you can find them, are the handbooks of the Marvel Universe. Okay? This is where the rules were made and set. This is in print. This talks about the characters. their stats, their powers, their histories and stuff. We're not talking about reboots. We're not talking about changing anything. This is what they put out there, you know. And look what I've invested over the years in read and took up. That's part of the fun of it. Is, you know, here's some set rules. Now you can debate, argue, talk, and everything with like-minded comic friends and fans, and get in there and you know, go back and forth. So some of the stuff I've caught up on to get to the point here, since you're hanging in here, is this all started when I finally picked up Secret Invasion. Okay, I just recently read this. You know, I flipped through it in the stores and everything, and I hung in there the first 3 or 4 issues, and then in my opinion it became unreadable. You know. Now, you know, Secret Invasion, for you guys that don't know, they build up to this story for quite a few years, and there's all kinds of things going on in all the Marvel books that just people were out of character, and it didn't make sense to someone. They were just ignoring continuity, and to me that was sort of like a little slap in the face, going by Marvel's rules now, you know. And what was going on in Skrulls, their out was that Skrulls were, is this all part of the plan, because Skrulls had, you know, taken over the spot and the identity of all these characters over the years, and you know, there's supposed to be a big plan where you could actually point out where the Skrulls took over, okay? So number 2, I'm hanging in there, the Secret Invasion, and you know, it starts out, you know, I'm thinking, okay, this could be good, they're starting out something, and the first thing that happens, they're in the Savage Land, and the modern day heroes have found a spaceship where out comes all these dated heroes. And it's kind of cool. You can see where the Marvel Universe was and where it was then, today. Okay? All fine. Well, they start fighting for all sorts of reasons after all the shock and all the paranoia hits. Starts out in a big, huge fight. You can see that. Okay? And then this fight is busted up all of a sudden by one Tyrannosaurus Rex. You can see that. Okay, first of all, Wolverine is there. Wolverine would jump on a Tyrannosaurus Rex and go at it. He's jumped on big sentinels. He's, you know. Another thing that gets me is that I can't, my suspension of disbelief is gone because it's one Tyrannosaurus Rex, tons of heroes, Skrulls, whatever, all these big powers. And I'm coming up for this one. In my day, when the Avengers took on freaking Godzilla, man. Alright, that should not have been a threat. That should not have been any way, shape, or form, you know, anything to anybody. Now, here I am, a reader. I don't do comics professionally. There's no way in the world I would have been able to make the right decisions to keep a comic book company going. But I'm sitting here thinking of 5 different ways this story could have been told believably, you know, with that unwritten contract. A herd of dinosaurs coming in. Okay? That makes more sense, you know. So that's where we're going. And yeah, I kept trying to read Secret Invasion. I haven't finished it. It's just unreadable to me. Okay? So, you know, I kind of let that go. They were 25 cents a piece, no biggie. It's over with. You know, you don't really hear anybody really talking about it anymore. And then I lucked up and ended up getting some bunch of Punishers. Finished up my Franken Castle, picked up some Punisher World Journals. This is Punisher War Journal 14 and 15. It's part 2 and 3 of a Craven Jr. You know, story with the Punisher. And what Craven has done is apparently he's been using his dad's potions to really amp up, you know, his physical powers, and apparently he also has the ability to control animals with his mind. So what's he do? He goes around and he collects a bunch of animal-themed villains and locks them up, and you know, the Punisher's involved. And man, you know, I was kind of being forgiving. You know, I'm reading this thing, and first of all, it's not feeling like the Punisher. All of a sudden, it's like the Punisher is close to being superhuman. He's getting beat up, he's getting smacked around, and you know, the Punisher's, you know, the Marvel Universe is supposed to be in the world outside your window, and here's this guy taking unbelievable beatings every issue. You know, getting a little stapled up here and there, tied up, and he's, you know, he's fine to keep going on. You know, okay. Comic books, let it go. But then I had enough because they had a big plot. They had a big, you know, cliffhanger there where, you know, Punisher is tied up and TigerShark's coming at him. If you can see all that, you know, and you know, water's filling the boat. He's chained to a big pole and TigerShark's coming at him. Alright, so this is where I started having real problems. He beats TigerShark by putting a chain around his throat and drowning him, or choking him out. Guys, heroes are just as good as the villains that you throw at them, okay? You don't make your villains disposable cannon fodder to get a story moving, to do a cliffhanger. TigerShark is built to be at the bottom of the ocean. His muscles are dense, okay? Actually, bullets could probably, you might as well be trying to choke out a submarine for what he has to put up underwater pressure and stuff. I can do the whole comic book science and the real science of, this was possible for somebody going under, water and all this stuff. You're not going to, even if he's like mindless from Craven Jr. messing with him, you're not going to be able to get a chain to tighten enough to choke him out with just the density of his muscles. I mean, I'm sitting here arguing about something that happened in a comic book. But, here I am, I have invested myself in these comics and reading them. Got that unwritten contract, with this company and other comic books. And, dream job, working the comic books. I mean, anybody that reads comic books, I think they, would love to have a shot or something. Don't even read, I don't know. But your villains make your heroes, okay? Your heroes are supposed to fight a villain who, could actually beat them. And that's what makes them heroes, because they can rise above that. Get the whole drama in there. It's one of the oldest stories ever told. Come on, And you don't take somebody like TigerShark, who has gone up against Namor, took on Wolverine, he's part of the Masters of Evil and took on the Avengers and kicked some butt, You don't have him choked out on a chain by the Punisher, It makes no sense, And it's just, you're ruining good villains and stuff. Not my company or anything like that, but, if I had spent the money on that, I mean, I don't think I'd, have bothered picking up anything else I got discounted on. I think there's a responsibility here to, if you work in comic books, do your research. No, I don't expect you to read every comic book ever made, but if you're going to read The Punisher, you think you might want to go back and see where he came from, where he's been. You got editors to help you that. You got freaking Wikipedia that'll, some of the stuff that people's added on the Wikipedia pages of just characters will carry you all the way through. Somebody should have read up on TigerShark, man. I mean, I don't usually do negative reviews, but I mean, this is just ridiculous, And I thought about this. Am I in this trap that I've read comics for so long you can't surprise me, or I've seen everything, or I'm stuck in the golden age of collecting comics? No, this is just sloppy writing by people who are supposed to be professionals. They're throwing anything out there to keep these stories moving, and you're not going to keep an audience that way. You're eventually going to get a reaction out of a lot of people like you had me. If you're a fan of Marvel today in the last couple of years, give it some time, I guarantee you're going to get smacked in the face with something again, So yeah, this isn't just a fanboy rant where I'm all negative on comic books. It's just, I feel like this contract, this understanding has been broken, just out of pure laziness is what it is. I read these books, and when Punisher is fighting TigerShark, I'm thinking of 3 or 4 different ways he could, Punisher's take him out. It didn't really have to be the Punisher beating him. He could just get away from him and lock a freaking door behind him and then wedge it. I mean, anything, But you don't choke the TigerShark out with a chain. You might, like I said, you might as well be choking a sub out. So yeah, there's my little rant. Wasting a lot of good characters and sloppy writing. I mean, it's just, there's no way around it. Alright. Sorry about the negative rant, guys, but I'm not really that sorry. I had to get it said. Thanks a lot.